Apophis impact more likely than NASA thought. The case of 2024 MK Apophis, the asteroid once thought to be a minimal threat, might be more dangerous than we ever imagined. Recent studies suggest the chances of it colliding with Earth are now higher than NASA originally predicted. And with the discovery of another asteroid, 2024 MK, the stakes have risen even further. Could this new space rock actually influence Apophis' course, making an impact more likely? Today we're exploring how NASA may have underestimated the threat of Apophis and why 2024 MK could play a pivotal role in changing everything. What is Apophis? So let's start with a quick recap on Apophis. This asteroid was discovered in 2004, and it immediately caught the attention of astronomers worldwide. Why? Early calculations suggested that Apophis had a very high chance of slamming into Earth on its flyby in 2029. Now, when I say high chance, I mean that at one point, the odds were about 2.7%, which may not seem like a lot, but in space terms, that's a huge red flag. Named after the Egyptian god of chaos and destruction, fitting, right? Apophis is about 340 meters in diameter. To give you some perspective, that's like stacking the Eiffel Tower on top of itself. Twice. If something this size were to hit Earth, it wouldn't wipe out the planet, but it would cause devastation on a massive scale. Naturally, NASA and other space agencies jumped into action, running simulations and gathering as much data as they could. After refining their calculations, they managed to reduce the risk of impact in 2029, which was a huge relief. For now, it's expected to pass at a distance of 31,000 kilometers from Earth. Now, while that's still super close in space terms, closer than some of our satellites in fact, scientists were confident that we were out of immediate danger. But here's the thing. Apophis isn't just going to swing by once and leave us alone. Nope. It's on an orbital path that brings it back close to Earth every few years, with major flybys expected in 2036 and 2068. And while 2029 seems to be off the table for an impact, future passes are still a little too close for comfort. The worry is that even a tiny shift in its orbit could spell disaster down the road. And guess what? There's a new factor that could affect its trajectory: 2024 MK. The discovery of 2024 MK, a new player in the game now. Enter 2024 MK, the asteroid that's adding a whole new layer of complexity to this situation. This space rock was discovered recently and has scientists paying close attention for a couple of reasons. First, its size. While 2024 meters in diameter is significantly smaller than Apophis, about 50 to 100 meters across, it's still big enough to do some serious damage if it were to hit Earth. Imagine a small mountain slamming into our planet. Not good, but what's really got people talking is the timing. 2024 MK is set to make a close pass by Earth in, you guessed it, 2024. That's just 5 years before Apophis' next big flyby. And here's where things get interesting. Scientists are beginning to speculate that 2024 MK could potentially affect Apophis' trajectory. Yeah, two asteroids in the same general neighborhood, possibly influencing each other's paths. It's a lot like cosmic billiards. You see, space objects like asteroids don't just float around aimlessly. They're constantly being pulled and pushed by the gravitational forces of the planets they pass, and even by each other. While 2024 MK and Apophis won't physically collide, there's a chance that their proximity to one another could alter their paths even slightly. And in the vastness of space, even the tiniest change in direction can mean the difference between a harmless flyby and a direct hit on Earth years later. This interaction between space objects is something scientists are watching closely. If 2024 MK passes by at just the right angle, its gravitational influence could nudge Apophis in a new direction. And suddenly, the 2029 flyby that NASA had deemed safe might not be so secure after all. And even if we get through 2029 without an impact, what about 2036 or 2068? Each pass introduces new variables, and this is why astronomers are now more concerned than ever. Gravitational forces and chaos theory in space. Let's dive a little deeper into the science behind all of this, starting with gravity. When two large objects, like Apophis in 2024 MK, come near each other in space, they exert gravitational forces on one another. These gravitational tugs can change their speed, their direction, or both. While these changes might seem minuscule, maybe a fraction of a meter per second, they add up over time. And in space, small changes can lead to big consequences down the line. This is where something called chaos theory comes into play. You've probably heard the term before. And no, it's not just a fancy concept from Jurassic Park. Chaos theory refers to the idea that small differences in the initial conditions of a system can lead to wildly different outcomes. In other words, a tiny shift in an asteroid's trajectory today could mean the difference between a close call and a collision years from now. The solar system is a chaotic place. The planet's gravity, the pull from the sun, and even tiny forces like the Yarkovsky effect, which happens when an asteroid absorbs sunlight and then re-radiates that energy as heat, can all influence an asteroid's orbit. Apophis, for example, is subject to all these forces and, potentially, the gravitational pull of 2024 megakelvins as well. This means that scientists have a tough job on their hands. Predicting the exact path of an asteroid years or even decades into the future is a bit like predicting the weather a month in advance. Sure, you can make an educated guess, but there are so many variables that the longer the timeline, the less accurate the prediction becomes. That's why astronomers are constantly updating their models with the latest data, because every new discovery, like 2024 MK, can change the game. NASA's changing predictions. Why Apophis is still a threat. Now you might be wondering, if Apophis was considered a non-threat for 2029, why are scientists still concerned? Well, it turns out that space is unpredictable, and as we just discussed, small changes can make a huge difference. Initially, NASA had more or less ruled out the possibility of Apophis impacting Earth in 2029. They crunched the numbers, ran the simulations, and the conclusion was that we'd be safe, for that year at least. But now with the discovery of 2024 MK and new data about how gravitational forces might alter Apophis's trajectory, NASA and other space agencies are re-evaluating the situation. It's not just about 2029 anymore. Sure, Apophis might miss us by a comfortable margin then, but what happens after that? In 2036, Apophis is expected to make another close pass, and then again in 2068. And each of these flybys comes with its own risks. Every time Apophis passes near Earth, the planet's gravity will pull on the asteroid, slightly altering its path. Now, with the potential added influence of 2024 megakelvin, those future flybys could become even more dangerous than previously thought. That's why NASA, along with other space agencies around the world, is keeping a close eye on both Apophis and 2024 MK. They're using everything from ground-based telescopes to radar systems to track the asteroid's movements with extreme precision. In the future, they may even send a space probe to get up-close data. The goal is to gather as much information as possible so they can make accurate predictions, and if necessary, take action to prevent a catastrophic collision. This ongoing vigilance shows just how seriously the space community is taking the evolving threat of Apophis, ensuring that we stay one step ahead of any potential disaster. What would happen if Apophis hit Earth? All right, let's entertain the worst-case scenario for a moment. What if Apophis actually hit Earth? How bad would it be? First of all, let me be clear. An Apophis impact wouldn't be an extinction-level event like the one that wiped out the dinosaurs. That asteroid was much bigger, about 10 kilometers across, while Apophis is only 340 meters. Still, an impact from Apophis would be devastating. If Apophis were to hit land, the impact could release energy equivalent to around 1,200 megatons of TNT. That's tens of thousands of times more powerful than the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The resulting blast would level everything in its immediate vicinity, causing widespread destruction for hundreds of kilometers. Depending on where it hit, major cities could be obliterated, leading to untold loss of life and infrastructure. If it were to hit the ocean, the situation wouldn't be much better. The impact could generate massive tsunamis, with waves hundreds of meters high crashing into coastal areas. Cities along coastlines could be flooded and destroyed, displacing millions of people. In addition to the initial devastation, the tsunamis could disrupt marine ecosystems, affecting food sources and shipping routes globally. And that's just the immediate effects. The long-term consequences could include climate changes due to the debris kicked up into the atmosphere, blocking sunlight and lowering global temperatures for months or even years. Crops could fail, leading to food shortages, economic collapses, and widespread chaos as nations scramble for resources. It's a grim scenario, but the good news is that scientists are doing everything they can to prevent it. And that brings us to an important question. What can we actually do to stop an asteroid from hitting Earth? Could we nudge it out of the way or destroy it before it even gets close? Let's explore the options. So while NASA initially thought Apophis was less of a threat, new developments like the discovery of 2024 MK are making things a bit more uncertain. Scientists are working around the clock to keep us safe, but the reality is that we still don't know for sure what the future holds. Will 2024 MK shift Apophis' path, or will we avoid catastrophe once again? Only time will tell. Thanks for sticking around until the end. Make sure to like and subscribe for more updates on space, science, and the mysteries of the universe.